Today we're talking about the psychology of people who have gone through too much. Not the inspirational what doesn't kill you makes you stronger version. The real version. The one that nobody talks about. Because it's messy, it's heavy, and it doesn't fit on a motivational poster. Let's get into it. Here's what actually happens when life hits you harder than most. Your brain stops being a normal brain. It becomes a threat detection system, always scanning, always calculating, always preparing for the next blow, even when there isn't one coming. You walk into a room, and you don't just see furniture. You see exits. You read faces. You measure the energy before anyone even speaks. And you do all of this without thinking. It's automatic. Because your nervous system learned the hard way that safety isn't guaranteed. It's something you build yourself, every single moment. Here's what people get wrong about this. They think you're paranoid. They think you're overthinking. They think you need to just relax. But you're not paranoid. You're trained. Your brain rewired itself to protect you. And now that the danger might be gone, your body still runs the old program, still watches, still waits, still braces for impact. You're not broken. You're a survival system that never got the signal that the war is over. But here's the part that nobody warns you about. Underneath all that strength, there's a grief most people will never understand. Not grief for someone you lost, grief for someone you were. You grieve the version of you who trusted people without running background checks in your head first. The version who said yes to things without preparing for 17 worst-case scenarios. The version who felt light, who laughed without scanning the room, who didn't rehearse conversations before having them. That person is gone. And the hardest part, you can't explain this to anyone. How do you tell someone you're homesick for a version of yourself you barely remember? How do you mourn someone who's technically still alive? So you carry it quietly, alone, while everyone thinks you're fine because you're still showing up, still functioning, still smiling when you're supposed to. But functioning isn't living, and you know that better than anyone. But here's what I need you to hear. Yes, you lost someone, the old you, and that loss is real. You're allowed to grieve it, but look at who you became. You became someone who can survive things that would flatten most people, someone who can hold space for other people's pain, because you've memorized that language fluently. You notice what others miss, the slight change in someone's voice, the smile that doesn't reach their eyes, the silence that's heavier than it should be. You see people, really see them. Because you know what it feels like to be invisible in your own pain. You didn't just survive. You became something rare, not because your life was easy, but because you learned to carry light through the kind of darkness most people can't even imagine. That's not damage. That's depth. So if you're someone who's been through too much, if you're exhausted from being the strong one, if you're tired of carrying weight that nobody else can see, I need you to know this. You don't have to keep performing survival. You've already proven you can make it through the hard stuff. The version of you that's still standing, they deserve to rest, and the version you're still becoming, they deserve to be seen, without having to explain every scar. You've carried enough, you're allowed to put it down now. If this put words to something you've been carrying in silence, you might also need to hear why some people feel like they don't belong anywhere, and why that feeling might actually be your greatest strength.